Thank you, everyone. Hello. I live up north a little bit, up kind of by Northwestern. I went to the protests. I support the protests at Northwestern in Columbia. I think the cops are a little over the top. I don't think you need to like push students down, because it's like almost summer vacation, you know? You could just wait. Come on, it's Northwestern in Columbia. These students have very prestigious internships. They've got dads who are senators. They got to be in DC by June 1st. You don't have to worry about that. You got to worry if there's like an encampment at UW Milwaukee. Because I know those guys. They don't have shit planned for June. They're like, camping? I love camping. I'm here. It was great. I saw the Columbia students occupy the library, and I was like, yeah, those Ivy League kids love libraries. If the UWM kids went in the library, they'd be like, never been in this building before. What is this? I think about academia all the time because I didn't go to a good school, and I kind of have a chip on my shoulder about it. And you'll see people, like I have a friend here, and she just got into grad school at Stanford. And it makes sense. She's very competitive, and she's ambitious, and she's a perfectionist. She's a little OCD. She's very hard to be around. She's tough to hang out with. But Stanford, you know, she's in Stanford, so you got to be happy. And it all clicked for me. Like, do you guys remember the Stanford prison experiment? It's this famous psychology experiment. If you ever take a psych class, they tell you, like, first unit. So in the 70s in Stanford, they took this class of psychology kids and they divided them up. And they had half of the students be prisoners and half of them are guards. And then the guards were incredibly mean to the prisoners. And what people think is that this shows you how, like, oh, if you give people a little power, it will corrupt them. Or that, like, we're all going to be mean to each other if we get any chance. And I don't think that's true. I think it just shows you the type of psychopaths that go to Stanford. And that's true for every Ivy League school. Like, every Ivy League school is just valedictorians. It's just like high school valedictorians who spent 4 years in this cutthroat race to get the highest grades possible. The Stanford prison experiment makes sense. These kids will literally do anything for an A. If you held the Stanford prison experiment at like a local community college, it would be chill as hell. You walk in on the first day, you'd be like, hey, you should electrocute your classmate. And then some guy with a backwards hat would be like, no, I'll just get a C. Like, what? Yeah, man, I got a C before. We don't got a C. I'm not going to sell out my moral compass because I don't even know if these credits will transfer. Yeah, I went home recently, and I don't know if the rest of you guys have this phenomenon when you're home, but all my siblings are out of the house. Brother and sister are gone, and none of us have any kids. So it's just my parents back at the childhood home. And they have so much time on their hands. Like, I come back, and they always have these new exotic hobbies, or like exotic for 60-year-olds. I came back, and they're like, hey, we bought mountain bikes. We're going to start mountain biking. I was like, why would you? Who's mountain biking? There's no mountains here. Why are two 60-year-old people getting on the mountain? And it hit me, it's like, oh shit, it's because I don't have kids yet. And my siblings don't have kids. None of us have kids. And so they don't know what to do with their lives. And they're just getting into mountain biking. Because all of their skills and experience, it's all child-based. Like, they know how to raise a kid. They did it to all three of us. If I had a kid, they could teach that kid how to ride a bike. and they could take that kid to school. But none of us have kids, so like they're just stuck mountain biking. They're 60. They're probably terrible at mountain biking. They'd be so good at teaching a child how to read for the 4th time. And I think that's why adults have confusing hobbies. It's because my generation, we're really pushing back the age of when you have kids. And we don't have kids, so they have all this time on their hands. Do you guys hear what I'm saying to you? If we all fell in love like we were supposed to, we could end pickleball tonight. I think pickleball is a disease. And I think unprotected sex is the cure. Have you seen pickleball? They don't want to be there. It's like this geriatric game of just like, please give me a grandson, please give me a grandson, please give me a grandson. And the only reason they play is because we won't give it to them. And it's time to end this Cold War. My mom, she's 60 years old. And she does CrossFit every day. And I'm sure she's like, oh my God, Sam needs to have a kid immediately. This shit is exhausting. She's teaching a kid how to read. When I finally have a child, I'm going to text her and I'm going to say, no more pull-ups, Mom. We're going home. I'm here to free you from this prison. I don't know. I do feel like I'm 30, and I feel like everyone my age, we're pushing back the age of having kids. And you can really tell that society was set up for us to have kids earlier. And I know that because of 2.5-bedroom apartments. We've all had this. You walk into somebody's apartment and they're like, hey, what's up? Like, this is my room. That's Dave's room. And then Jeff's in the small room. It's like, I realized, like, oh shit, that's where the crib is supposed to go. You guys know that's what a half bedroom is, right? Like the guy who built your walk-up in the 1920s, he thought it would be two 24-year-olds in love with a baby. He didn't know it'd be like 3 fully grown 28-year-old guys. And we just got a weird guy vaping in the small room. If you're a guy and you live in a small room of an apartment, you sleep in the room for the baby, man. What have we done to the housing market? Oh shit, there's a man living in the nursery. We made a terrible mistake. I don't know, it feels like, because that genuinely is, that should be for a baby. And instead it just goes to like your most irresponsible friend. Because the guy with the least amount of money or like options or whatever. I live in a 1.5-bedroom right now, and right now I have a friend crashing in that half bedroom. And it's incredible. I was thinking about it the other day and I was like, damn, okay, I'm the only one here with a job. He does have trouble expressing himself emotionally. Sometimes I'm up late at night and I hear him crying, and I don't know if I should like put him back to bed or not. It hit me like, oh, he's my baby. The guy that lives in the small room is the baby of the apartment. I don't know. Does anybody here live in a small room? If there's a guy here and you're stuck in the small room, I'm sorry. And I know you're not the same as a baby. The difference is that a baby still has potential. You know? You'll get there, man. You'll get out of the small room. Sometimes I'm like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? I haven't had a kid, and so I'm still giving people career advice. It's just like the wrong advice. Like, if I had a daughter right now, I'd be sitting her down and I'd be like, look, you can be anything you want to be when you grow up. And instead, I'm telling the guy in the small room, like, no, man, a lot of white rappers get discovered at 29. Just grind down in the small room. I don't know. I'll have kids eventually. I want kids. I mean, people are still getting married. I've gone to weddings, I've gone to friends' weddings. It hit me the other day, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I've been to so many weddings and none of them have had a priest there. It's always like, oh yeah, my brother got ordained online, like he's doing the ceremony. It's like, here's my wacky cousin. Can you believe she's an ordained minister? Yeah, you just go on the website. Like, I've never been to a wedding where there's flowing robes and like a holy presence. I've never gone to a wedding that counts for heaven. I've only gone for these like letter of the law, like this guy's an ordained minister. Why are there so many ordained ministers? It feels like there's less religion than ever. I think half my group chat technically is an ordained minister. And you can tell, man. Like, the divorce rate is up in America, and it's like, yeah. Have you seen the ordained ministers? I don't think we're taking these weddings seriously. I was at my friend's wedding this fall. It's like a beautiful ceremony. And the guy marrying them is just his brother, and he's wearing cargo shorts. And he's up there and he's like, by the power vested in me. It's like, what power is vested in you? You sleep in the room for the baby. A baby room guy. All right. Last joke. I don't know. I always view the ordained minister thing as a concession to the fact that I think most people my age grew up religious, but then you kind of lose it as you get older, and you hold it at arm's length. But it's still part of society, so we all become ordained ministers. Very few people are religious. You know who's the most religious group in America is athletes. Athletes love God, dude. They love God. Every time I watch March Madness or the NBA playoffs, and I look somebody up on Instagram, that Instagram bio is a Bible quote every time. Athletes love God. And it just kind of makes sense. Yeah. Like, it turns out if you can jump 40 inches, you're like, yeah, I guess God is real. Does it not feel real to you? It feels real to me. They're in that post-game press conference being like, yeah, I'd just like to thank God for lifting me up. It's like, you're 6'9", dude. You're lifted all the way up. There's this weird thing with like religion and sports where sports definitely make religion look cool. Like when you see a running back go into the end zone and he does the sign of the cross, I'm like, yeah, that shit is sick. If a weird guy gets on the bus and does the sign of the cross, I'm like, I'd like to get off now. What is he praying? It's cool when the cross is like studded with diamonds. You guys ever seen like an old wooden cross on a lady limping across the street? That shit is cursed. It's cursed. Sports make religion make sense. I don't know, I saw an interview with Kevin Durant, and he was like, every night I prayed to God that I would make it to the NBA. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. Every night I also prayed to God that I would make it to the NBA. And I didn't hear shit back from God. I think athletes, like, that's the only group that got their prayers answered. It's not a coincidence that the age, at least for guys, the age most people become atheists is somewhere between like 15 and 19. That's also the age you realize you're not making it to the NBA. I went to the Nike camp. I go to the Nike camp. I'm there with all the top recruits. They're like, hey, you got to guard this guy. He's the best point guard in the country. His name is John Wall. I looked around like Jesus on the cross. I was like, my God, why have you forsaken me? All right, that's it. Have a great rest of your day.